Siwamano. So our group will represent about the 2D sport analysis. We choose basketball free throw for our analysis. First of all, my name is Siti Sairato Aina binti Kazali, and my group member consists of Ismail bin Syari, Haziq Izzuddin bin Zabrin, Muhammad Hakimi bin Muhammad Azhar, and Nur Sharina Huda binti Abdul Malik. In this slide, I will talk about the introductions of the skill. Basketball players that take an uncontested shot at the free throw lines are said to be making a free throw. The most frequent circumstance for a free throw to be awarded is when an offensive player has been fouled while attempting to make a shot. A player receives 1 point for each successful free throw they make. Next, phases of basketball free throw. During performing basketball free throw, the skills are separated into different phases. This will greatly simplify the task of analyzing the talents. The phases are broken down into 3 categories: preparations, force operations, and ball release. Next, movement skills. There will be different movement skills for each of the phases of the skills. In the first phase, which is preparatory phase, wrist, elbow, shoulder, and a small amount of knee flexions are all movements that are made during this stage. Move to the second phase. Compared to the first phase, the fourth production phase involves more complicated movement. Wrist flexions, elbow flexions, shoulder flexions, knee flexions, and plantar flexion of the foot are the movements that the athlete does. Lastly, the wrist flexions, elbow extension, shoulder flexions, knee extension, and plantar flexions of the foot all occur during the release phase.
Basketball free throw technique typically requires the entire body to contract. This is so because the talent themselves make use of every hand and leg that are available. So for the upper body, the brachioradialis, flexor and extensor carpi, as well as the bicep, tricep, and also deltoid muscle of the arm that make up the muscle used in the arm. So for the lower body, the gluteus, quadricep, hamstring, gastrocnemius, and also soleus that make up the leg of muscle. For the joint involved, the joint use had a significant impact on how precisely the task was executed. A healthy joint will permit motion through its whole range of motion. So we may examine the movement made by the wrist through synovial joint, the hinge joint at the elbow, and the ball and socket joint at the shoulder at the upper limb level. And the ball and socket joint in the pelvis, the knees hinge joint, and the foot plane joint, and all these play a crucial role in the development of skill. Next is the bone involved. Bones are part of the skeletal system and are utilized to support posture, protect internal organ, and also facilitate movement. To ensure that human move in an upright, balanced manner, it must be robust and also stiff. Numerous human body bones were included in the basket free throw. So for the upper body, the carpals, metacarpal, and phalanges at the arm, the radius and ulna at the forearm, and the humerus that join the upper limb to the shoulder that make up the hand. For the lower body, the pelvic girdle, femur, tibia, fibula, tarsal, metatarsal, and phalanges are all visible in the lower limb.
For task analysis, we have selected a video from YouTube who are involved in basketball sports. From the video chosen, the basic skills in basketball, which is free throw, will be performed. Then, we will analyze the video of the players doing the skills. We are focusing on the technique that he applied, which are technique and form during the basketball shooting, such as form during preparatory phase, force production phase, and release phase. Also, technique the player throw the ball, how the wrist control during throwing, and how the shoulder control the strength or speed of the ball during release phase.
For the form of motion, general motion, linear motion, and angular motion are the 3 types of motion. First is general motion, which is it includes simultaneous translation and also rotation. Second is linear motion, where is the ball following the release pace and the subject body. Third is angular motion that defines the rotation of the ball following the release pace of a basketball free throw. Okay, now as you can see, the diagram shows the relationship between the 3 motion. Rectilinear motion, that is also known as straight line motion, and this is a type of linear motion that involves the subject body and also the ball following the release phase. So the movement of a body or a particle is described by this kind of motion, and any two particles in a body are said to move rectilinearly if they cover the same distance along the two parallel straight lines. Furthermore, motion that takes place when a particle follows a curved road is known as curvilinear motion. The curving path may be in 3 dimension or 2 dimension in a plane. So when compared to rectilinear or straight line motion, this is sort of motion that is more complex. The basketball ring is reached by the ball traveling in a straight path.
We move into the lever system. Free throw in basketball use a two-class lever system mechanism, which are second-class lever system and third-class lever system. The fulcrum is at subject's feet when making a basketball free throw using second-class lever. The feet are where the force first manifests itself. Then, the subject's cuff delivers force directly to the shoulder and all the way up to the finger. Next, the subject's feet also experience resistance. We move into the third-class lever system. This procedure occurs when the subject throws the ball during the third-class lever. The fulcrum is situated at the shoulder. The force then transfers directly from the subject bicep and tricep to the hand and finger. The ball is thrown the desired location during this phase. There is resistance at the tips of the fingers.
Next, we move to the kinematic and kinetic analysis. The purpose of this analysis is to analyze the kinematic and kinetic properties that influence the result of this analysis, and also to analyze the different range of motion between preparatory, force production, and release phase during free throw in basketball. Next is kinematic analysis. Kinematic analysis examines how the torso, limbs, and joints move when someone is moving. We can see the distance between the player and the ring, which is 6 meters. To throw the ball at a distance of 6 meters requires energy from the lower body and upper body so that the ball can go at a predetermined distance. Speed of the ball is dependent on the player's techniques in releasing the ball. Range of motion for preparatory phase. During the preparatory phase, the angle of flexion at the knee of the player shows a large degree, which is 146 degree, where the factor of the player's knee angle area plays a role in gaining strength from lower body. Apart from the knee, the player's elbow flexion also shows a wide angle, which is 92 degree, for the player to gain force on the upper body to perform the throw. Second, force production phase. During force production phase, general maximum amount of force is really important. We can see that there is a resulting angle on the knee flexion part of the player is decreasing from the preparatory phase. The player shows 116 degree from 146 degree knee flexion angle when doing the throw. The projection height during the force production phase also will be perfect, and the ball will go to the ring in 6 meters because the player's shoulder flexion is shown decreasing in degree from preparatory phase, which is 76 degree, because it will help the player to throw the ball as far as he wants. Last range of motion, which is release phase. This phase focuses the force exerted by the muscle to perform a precise basketball shot. We can see from the player's performance which the knee flexion angle that he makes is large angle from the force production phase. It is due to let the leg exert maximal force. The player also shows large degree of shoulder flexion to increase the projection height during the shot, which is 110 degree. The arm flexion of the player during the release phase is on the large degree, which to ensure maximum force at the arm will be exerted and good projection angle.
Okay, now we move into the summation of force. Basketball free throws require the use of the entire body in order to produce the strongest and most efficient throw possible. Moving certain body part at the precisely timed interval is the second technique, which is called precise timing. Then, using both legs to exert ground reaction force, press down toward the earth, GRF. During the ball's release phase, The force when they transmit back up to the knees, shoulder and forearms before reaching the fingertips. Next is projectile trajectory. When an object travels along a parabolic path, it moves in projectile motion. The path an object takes is called its trajectory. When in projectile motion, an object range, height, and duration of flight are all independent on the angle at which it is launched. Because of the ball's projection, height, and curve angle from where the player is standing, we can see that player's free throw can reach a ring that is 3 meters high.
Hi, so I would like to continue the presentation by explaining kinetic analysis. Kinetic analysis can be divided into two things, which is force and torque. For force, a movement, push or pulls that can modify the direction of the motion is called as a force. F equal to ma is the formula for the force. Mass can represent by the m's. Time acceleration equal force is represent as a. Newton is the SI unit in this for the force, which is N. In this case, the subjects produce force whilst the balls release creates force in the opposite directions. While for the torque, the rotating effect of force about a rotational axis is known as a torque. Additionally, the force that produces a turning effect is to be blamed. Torque in this scenario may cause the ball to spin. Torque is calculated as force that represents F multiplied by the moment arm. Therefore, the shorter the ball must travel reach the rings, the greater the torque that can be generated. Besides, the objective of torque analysis is to examine if an athlete's force output is increasing or decreasing. Right after that, we have strengths and also weakness. There are several strengths and weaknesses that can be determined when the skill has been analyzed. The player's ability to develop accurate skills, techniques such as the appropriate body position and ball throwing technique based on the film recording is one of their strengths. Besides, there are some flaws that we found in this video that player can improve his free throw in basketballs. Compared to the professional athlete, which is the professional basketballer, the player in the video can make more bend on his knee where consume a small degree of knee flexions. And also, bending torso may help reduce the use a lot of energy to throw the ball at long distance towards the rings. For instance, a player may take some time to recognize the proper techniques and also posture body from a recorded video. Players won't be able to receive or accept a result right away because they will need to study the footage from every single of perspective. Lastly, there is some step to maximizing the skill performance. The study and results show that there is still room to improve the player's skill performance, since the result indicate that player's skills, range of motions and also angle of projections, also body alignment and sub-maximal force are good, and technique and posture need to be improved to obtain a satisfactory outcome. Also, the greater range of motion and proper timing are some of requirement for maximizing a player's abilities in order to generate the proper amount of force. And also, there is some things that we can achieve accuracy in basketball shootings. Besides, the player must then use both major and small muscles to increase the angle of which the ball is released to enhance the likelihood that it will enter the rings. Besides, the third Newton law, also known as the law of response, can be used to generate the same amount of force while we are pressing into the ground. Last but not least, the player must adjust their force generations in order to acquire the appropriate speed of the ball and to prevent overheatings. So for conclusion, we can conclude that the projectile trajectory and range of motion, which is the angle of motion, play a significant and important part in determining the result of analysis to achieve a good skill and correct scoring goal in basketball shootings. In addition, we discovered that the technique has a crucial role in improving goal scoring in basketball. The player must therefore focus more on this element in order to improve his or her chances of scoring goals in basketball. In order to perform at their highest level of competitions, particularly when it comes to basketball shootings, the players must continue to practice and also maintain their skills. Therefore, with strong specific trainings and also the good techniques, the team may be able to earn a point, and also with a game added, the skill may occasionally improve. That's all from us. Thank you.